はい、というわけで、theforgottencity、続きやっていこうと思います。昨日はちょっとお休みしちゃったんですけどね。なんか昨日、RE4 が発売されたっつって、でそれずっと見てたんですよね、なんか。で、俺も バイオハザード RE4 やってみようかなと思ったんですけど、高いっすね、あれ。高いっすね。まあ、最新ゲームだからしょうがないんですけど。で、前回どこまでやったっけかな。とりあえずどれかやるか。とりあえずこれからやるか。
citizen。
ルフィウスってやつがなんか隠してるわけじゃないんだろうけど、なんか引っかかるんだよな。やっぱね、なんか、昨日はちょっと夜遅くまで、あのバイオハザード RE42 が、レジデントエビルのなんかリメイク作品、あれ見てたんですけど、やっぱあれですね、ああいうゲームって見るよりもやる方が全然楽しいですね。で、こいつを止める方法を考えなきゃいけないんだけど。
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the golden rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far? Ah, another stoic, perhaps. We've all been where you are now. I remember I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out? What is the golden rule, and who or what is responsible for it? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think anybody does. But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned.
ちょっとすいません、コーヒー入れます。すいません。先に入れとけよっていう話なんですけど、ちょっとすいません。
All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
いや、これ選ぶとこうなっちゃうのか。
Oh, no, 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 no. Orpheus, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him.
これはどうしたらいいんだろうな。
Thank you. And please, choose your words.
You know about that? How is that possible? I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone. Well, if you say so. You don't understand. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it all to be over. It's too late for that. Yulia and I made a pact, and she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her. I can't do that. Oh, really? That changes things a little. But we're still in debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off both of our debts.
どれだろう、どっちだろうな、選択肢。
Yulia and I are in debt bondage to Malleolus. We might as well be slaves. And that's how much it will take to buy our freedom back.
どっちだろうな。
Oh, so it's my fault.
あ、やべえ、失敗したか。
Is that it? You know what? Forget it. I'm out. Wherever you are. Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no!
ダメか、選択肢ミスったな。
I can't believe he went through with it. Oh Lord. That poor lamb. That was not your fault. Well, I'll have to, and I'd bet.
やり直せねえかな、これ。私を見つけてまた降りれるってこと？またこいつか。
I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your... Did you just leap that well? Are you insane? Why would I withdraw from an Don't talk nonsense. There's no such thing as the golden rule. How could you possibly know that? Nonsense! This is nonsense! I don't know how you know about my plans, but I'm absolutely sure Sentius is involved somehow. And now, I'm going to enjoy watching Domitius kill him even more. Now, get out of here! You outstayed your very limited
いやー、これ
welcome.
選択肢難しいな。どう選べばいいんだ。
Get out of my villa before I have... Thank you. Thank you. I am...
ウルピルスも助けられねえし、マレオラスも止めらんねえし。でこれ探すか。
All
Isn't the
weapons
great
are to be
keeping an
tossed
eye on
into the
things,
chasm.
Horatius?
Magistrate, as always, priestess.
Any news about Scintilla? Maybe.
あ、そうですね。毎日腕立てしますね。どうも遠藤さん、こんばんはです。ちょっとすいません。お湯入れてきます。すいません。はい、すいません、失礼しました。FF 外から失礼するぞ。どういうこと？そういうのは、なんかトレンドに上がってんですか？で、また結局ここか。 でもあれ落ちちゃったしな、もう。落ちちゃったからダメか。これできねえんだ。あ、いや別に好きじゃないですよ、そんなの。これやってみるか。これは出ねえな。これはちょっとわかんないですね。すいません。ちょっと失礼。すいません。パンド、これやってみるか。あなたしたいって言われてもな。できそうなやつがねえな。これはじゃあ。やっぱりこうか。何か探さなきゃいけないのかな。バイオ6件さんもバイオハザードやんのか。みんなバイオハザードだな。俺もやるか。ちょっと高いけど。つってもな、俺絶対面白くできる自信がねえんだよな。ダメだ、わかんねえよ。
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little stirkus? What now? Her name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus? You go through me. Why? Because I am a gladiator. That's why. You want to see me fight? Keep running your mouth, fatuous cunners. When Malleolus wins the election, yeah, this place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see. I think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected. He's going to announce it in his victory speech. Just you wait and see. 'Cause if I tell you, and it gets out, it'll give old man Sentius a chance to interfere in our plans, and we can't have that. Old man Sentius got you already, did he? Well, I'm not talking to people in his faction. Confatuare.
ダメか。話できなくなっちゃった。
Osinculio mio.
ダメか。これって全員と話さなきゃならないの
You
か。
have a good reason for flouting my weapons ban.
こいつと話してもな、も
We're finally alone. I assume we have? Wait, if I understand correctly, I must have entrusted you with figuring out who the culprit is. Is that about right? Look, it's unfortunate, but now I assume you sought me out again for a reason.
としょこさん、なんか聞いたことあんな。
Ask them. Good. Now, was there something else you wanted to discuss? Sextus Sentius Imperiosus is my name. Though magistrate, before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial Rome, helping protect civilization from the barbarians. It's a cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform. As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, But today, I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you, so it seemed prudent. My men and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire. Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger. I went looking for my horse and discovered that lonely temple. You can probably figure out the rest. I was elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well. If I did, I'd have led these people out of here already. I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the golden rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris. I trust that answers your question.
なるほど、わからん。
Of course. What is it?
まあ、もうちょい
Why
調
then
査が
did
欲
you
しい
say?
な。
It doesn't matter. It looks like you'll have to continue your investigation. Now, was there anything else you wanted to ask? Thank you. I'll be waiting here for news.
とりあえず全員と話さなきゃなんねえのか。入れるか。
All weapons that
これは
have
テ
been
ィウス
tossed
か。
into the
こい
chasm.
つは確か全部話したよ
Magistrates,
な。
what is it, citizen?
あ、こい
What
つ全然
business
の
is that of yours? A lot of people have been looking for her. But it's been 3 weeks, and we've found nothing. What makes you think you can do better? No, it's not that. We all care for Centilla. She is, or was, a lovely young woman. But I learned long ago not to dwell on things beyond my control. Or to try not to, anyway. But I don't want to seem obstructive. If you have questions, ask away. Centilla was always a kind, well-behaved young woman. I admit, her disappearance really caught me off guard. If anyone knows something, I'd expect it to be Sentia, Malleolus, Claudia, or Domitius. But none of them will tell me anything. You might fare better though, I suppose.
新しいクエストね。
Fine. All right. Please keep an eye out for anything that might lead us to Centilla.
センティラの話がなんか追加されたな。ホラティウスとドミティウス。こいつ誰だ？
Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want? I'm Sentia, eldest daughter of the magistrate. But you'd know that if you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that? Really? I'd never have noticed, what with your flawless accent, appropriate attire, and impressive mastery of our customs. Now, remind me, why are we having this conversation? Ugh, what is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Scintilla. I wish you mouth breathers would just leave me alone. I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the harpies? It was 3 weeks ago. We ate our evening meal together, and I remember she seemed happy. In love. We went into our rooms, I went to sleep, and when I woke up, she was gone. That's it. I think so, yes. But she was very careful about keeping his identity a secret, even from me. Because our father had plans to marry her off, eventually, and even a rumor about her attachment to some mystery man might have ruined those plans. That doesn't surprise me. To him, it was like a prize cow wandering off from its paddock. He's upset, of course, but he says he's too busy with the election to help look for her, so he's letting Horatius do the heavy lifting. Some good that's done. I don't know, but it's been 3 weeks since she disappeared, and he hasn't come forward. That might speak to a guilty conscience. All I know is, whoever he is, he's still here in the city. You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman women are named after their fathers. I think it's their way of branding us, like cattle to be sold at market. His family name is Sentius, so I'm Sentia because I'm the eldest, and my little sister is formerly Sentia Minor, but she is affectionately known as Scintilla. I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance. Oh, you're awful. Get out of my villa and never speak to me again.
選択間違えたか。これ結構難しいな、このゲーム。本当になんか選択肢だけでいろいろ解かなきゃいけねえんだ。とりあえず喋れるやつっていうか、まだ知らないやついるかな。喋ってないやつ。どっかにいねえかな。とりあえず適当に走り回るしかねえよな。ここなんだ、ここ初めて来たな。ここはもう見たもんな。降りられないのか。降りられた。で普段ここに来ても特に意味はないんだ。まあゲートが開いて、ポータルか。ポータルがまだ開いてないから。今ここに来ても意味がないんだ。あそこなんだ。いけるかな。ジップラインで繋がってねえのか。あ、そうやね。なんか、サンズ・オブ・ザ・フォレストがアップデート来て、なんかボスが追加されたらしいんですよ。ラスボス。だからもしかしたらまたサンズ・オブ・ザ・フォレストやるかもしれないです。でね、ちょっとね、配信の感覚っていうか、この曜日はこれをやるっていうのをちょっと決めようかなと思ったんですよね。だから、毎日同じ、一回盗んでみるか。
The many shall suffer. for the sins of the one.
盗めば黄金律は破られるっていうことなんだろうけど。はい、これセンティウス。センティウス飽きてくんねえかな。やっぱ盗みを働くと黄金律を破ることになるんだ。何か引っかかるな。何か間違えてんだよな俺。間違えてっていうか何か勘違いしてんだよな多分。
Salve, friend. All right then. I'll get out of.
あ、ちょっとごめん待って。
Ah, it's you again. Now. All right.
ミスったかな。もう一回盗むか。もう一回盗むか。盗んで、ね、もう一回リセットしよう。金盗むと黄金律に反したってことになるんだよな。
Wow, isn't that a big long bow?
誰よこいつか。
Oh, you're here. And there's some. Coming on a bit strong. I take back. Let's just forget that. All right.
とりあえず全部の選択肢を試してみないとダメか。なんだこれ。ビール OK。結構かかりそうだなこれ。土日でこれ一気に終わらせちゃうかもう。明日明後日やって。ミルドラースって何ですかね。アウレリアのチェストの鍵盗みます。やっぱね、こ
The
うなる
many
な。
shall suffer for the sins of the one.
どうだっけ。痛い痛い痛い。センティウスに話しかけられるみたいなんだよな。やべやべやべ、あいつ来やがった。センティウスは死んでワープゲートができる。盗むのはダメか。でもなんでじゃああの黄金の弓だけは手に入れられたんだろう。
Salve, friend. Mind telling? Oh, Yulia. All right, let me. I'll go.
でだ。じゃあどうするか。もう一回ウルピルスのとこ行ってくるか。とりあえずこれやんないと終わんねえんだよな。とりあえずこの選択肢でなんとかミスらないようにしないと。髪の毛を盗んで、いや髪の毛は盗んでないですけど。
You, Tantalus, cannot catch the.
リビアもな、何か知ってんだけど教えてくんねえんだよなこいつ。でも佐々木声のことは、佐々木声の主は誰なんだろうな。どっちがんだっけこれ。こっちじゃねえや。選択肢を1個でも間違えたらウルピルスで飛んじゃうからなあいつ。うまくやんねえと。失敗したらまた盗むしかねえな。で、強引にタイムループ起こしちゃうしかね
Salve, friend. All right.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no, 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 no. Oh,
That's the...
what?
What?
I'm. Please help. Thank you.
You... Well, you don't understand. It's too... If I back... Oh, we're still in debt bondage.
これどっちだっけかな。
Yulia and I... So... No, I am out.
もうダメか。これ、やっぱこの選択肢ダメか。
Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Oh, Pierce, no!
ダメか。この選択肢ダメなんだ。
I'll have. And I.
この選択肢じゃダメ。じゃあもう一回やり直すか。
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Magistrate, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. I'm delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens.
こいつも話しかけてみるか。ガレリウスが。
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little
あいつまだいろいろやってんのか。なんか。
Oh, don't mind me. I just live here. Oh, I wish Horatius would... You know, some people say... But what kind of an awful, incompetent god would let my sister go missing on his or her watch? Did you hear that? Curse you, you coward! Where is my sister? What do you have to say for yourself? No response. Nothing. That's what I thought. I'm telling you, this mysterious god of ours has to be asleep on the job. Either that, or, like people are saying, it really is just a children's fable my father is exploiting to frighten us into behaving. Oh, and I suppose I'll just have to take the word of a know-nothing barbarian who just arrived, will I? I'm Sentia. What? Ugh, well... I don't... I think... I don't want... You here... Why, If you must know, I'm here because my father... I couldn't bear to lose you too, he says. As if he loves me, and not because he needs at least one daughter he can trade off. Why? Because I'm on this couch and not pacing about the villa, wasting energy.
多分これで
I hope you're not
タイムトラベル
insinuating...
っていうか、またなんか起こるだろうな。い
Awful. Get out of...
や、大丈夫なのか。これは言っても大丈夫。嘘つくだけ、虚勢とか、虚勢は大丈夫なのか。
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind.
こいつも試してみるか。
What is it, citizen? What business? If you're accusing me of a crime, you'd better have something to back it up. Worth a try. You're grasping at straws and it's not.
ダメか。やっぱ証拠出てなきゃダメか。こいつは
What now? Malleolus, of course. If old man... Listen, I don't abduct women. They come to me. And they keep coming back. If you know what I mean. You don't know Sturkus. Listen.
これだけか。
Just remember, I'll be watching.
とりあえず全部の選択肢を聞かなきゃいけないのかな。
What now?
いや腕立て伏せしながら聞くなよ。
Her name's Demetia. What? When Mally... I think... We've already lined up the votes he needs to win. Whatever.
あと他に話したよない人は。この人誰だ？エクイティア。
A new face. Arve. Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me, but you've come to the right person. Did you find a pattern then? What have you noticed? Yes, I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. What else? Yes, I also had such an encounter. What else? That's true. I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. It's as I feared. I think I understand what poor Livia has been going through. Let me ask you this. Did you happen to encounter a stranger in the forest before you arrived here? And did you happen to catch her name? I see. And was this stranger by any chance wearing a hood? Because I've seen her before. There's something I think you should see.
話が進んだな。
I think you'd better follow me to the baths.
おお、女性と風呂場に怒って。どういうことだ？
Don't follow too closely. We can't have people thinking we're bathing together.
女性と風呂場って言ったらもうああいうお店しか思いつかないんだけど。いやまあ、いや今のは失言でした。すいません。んだロードコードセーブも入ったのどこまで行くんだあいつ。あ、これ最初に来たところか。
You're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it. Only, I think I know who that stranger is. Charon, the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living.
いや、わかんないですけどね。
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change.
ああ、そういう話
My
か。
whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute.
There are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they
冥
all
界へ
were.
の橋渡しね。
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so
つまり
sorry.
この世界にいる人は
I take
全員
it
死
you
ん
know
でる
what
っ
this
ていう。
means. I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments.
なるほど、
It
それ
also
で真実を
tells
知ったらって
us
こと
that
な
the
のか。
golden rule is the work of Pluto, the god his epithet has always been Father of Riches. I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions, so I'll try to answer them if I can. That was my first thought too. In the old stories, the underworld was where the souls of the deceased were taken. But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they were particularly fearless. So I'm afraid I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman, or even Greek, you would know these stories. Each of them is slightly different, whether the storyteller was Plato, Homer, Virgil, or Ovid. But they always involved the souls of the dead meeting a grim ferryman named Charon on the bank of a river. It was said that he'd help the new arrival cross, only if they could pay him with a coin, an obol. That's why it was once our custom to bury our loved ones with a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited this knowledge from the Greeks. To be fair, the ferryman isn't exactly as the poets described, and he, she, they seem to appear to different people in different guises. You say you saw a young woman with a hood, and I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress named Kerti, and Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kumut Tabal wearing an eagle headdress. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing a hood of some sort, and their name always began with a K.
そういうネタバレはね、あんまり言わない方がいいと思いますよ。まあ、FF10 ってもうだいぶ古いゲームだからいいか。
Is if your paths cross again. Good question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always require a coin as payment for passage across the river, but that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal being need with coins? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one in our possession. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us had on us. That might explain why we wound up here, but so many others did not. No. I mean, I had my suspicions, especially after Livia's ramblings, but I would never have figured it out without your help, I promise you. Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it, if we don't want to be cast into gold for eternity.
この街の謎は解けたけど、まだ続きがあるのか。
Except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra. And Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have 2 options. To confront the god of the underworld head on,
そうか、変な騒ぎ声を出してる人を探せばいいってことか。結局、あいつを見つけなきゃいけないんだな。
It's a reasonable question, but the problem is, this place is fairly well designed to keep us here. There's no way to climb up the shaft. And even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the golden rule. You know that, thanks to the writings left behind by those who've tried. All Romans try to avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention to yourself. Do so at your own peril. Shh! Is everyone so blunt where you're from? Oh. That option would be the boldest, but also the only way to learn the truth about the golden rule.
マルチェンディングってのは2つあるってことか。導きで抜け出すか、ブルートと戦って倒すかっていうこと。
But he was a demigod. Forgive my candor, but you are no Hercules. Are you telling me that you can? I won't pretend to understand exactly what that means, but if that's true, then perhaps you stand a chance. So, if you want to confront him, I'll help you as much as I can. Who knows? Perhaps your name will be uttered in the same sentence as Hercules one day. But first, you'd need an audience with you-know-who, and for that, you'll need to enter the great temple overlooking the city. The problem is, the door has been sealed shut for as long as I've lived here, and there doesn't even seem to be a keyhole. I suspect the answer lies in the desecrated obelisk in front of it.
4枚の名
I'm not sure
盤
if you noticed, but there are 4 plaques missing from its
気づかなかっ
face.
たな。そんなあったの
It
か。
looks as though somebody, or a series of somebodies, forcibly removed them, and in doing so, dishonored and angered our divine keeper. If you could recover and replace all 4 of those missing plaques, I imagine he might be willing to receive an audience again. It's the towering stone monument with 4 sides and a pyramid-shaped head that stands before the great temple, a dedication to the god of this place. You'll find them all over Rome, but of course they were looted from Egypt many years ago. It seems one of them made its way here too, although how is a mystery. However, this one is unusual in that each of the 4 sides is decorated in a different style: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and another I don't recognize. That means you'll need to recover 4 different plaques: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and a 4th, a mystery plaque.
脱出の方法が一つじゃないってことか。
Good question. To answer that, we first need to ask who would have defaced the obelisk in the first place. It would have had the god's name engraved into it, so it may be that whoever desecrated it wanted that name to be forgotten. And there's only one group of people I know of who might want to do that. There's a cult in Rome that often argued there is only one true god. Theirs, of course.
ぶっちゃけで言えばキリスト教ってことか。
Fires, as well as deface religious monuments whose existence challenged their beliefs. If I were you, I'd go looking for them. Of course, they've all been in hiding since the fire last year, so finding
なんて名
them
前だっけ
won't
キリスト
be
教徒
easy.
の
But I
ウ
did hear a
ル
rumor
ピルスじゃな
they
くて
have a secret
なんだっけ
shrine somewhere in the city. Perhaps, if you could find that, you might be able to recover the Roman plaque. I don't know.
ジョル
But
ジウ
perhaps
ス
you should begin your search with the local Greek fellow, Georgius. His store is in the forum.
まあこれもクリアの一つなん
Perhaps
だ。クリア
Kabash,
方法の一つ
our
なんだろう
Egyptian
な。
resident, would be able to tell
カバ
us.
シュ。
Unfortunately, he disappeared weeks ago. But I did hear Aurelia is peddling rumors about him at the tavern, so perhaps you could talk to her, or just take a look in his room. I'm afraid you're on your own with that one, but perhaps finding the other 3 will illuminate the way. As I mentioned, both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded Proserpina to help them escape, and Aeneas was guided to the exit. The problem is, those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their own heroic deeds.
脱出の方法は一つしかないのか、もしくはいくつかあるのか。
Proserpina. What we do know about her is, well, it's a grim tale. It's said the god of the underworld abducted and dragged her here against her will, forcing her into marriage. If the stories are true, then I suppose so. The problem is, how do we communicate with her without being noticed by her captor? Leaving that aside for a moment, there is also the possibility of a spirit guide. I don't suppose you've come across one of those in your travels? Truly? And you're only bringing this up now?
ユダかはわかんないですけ
I
ど。
suppose you were worried I'd think you were as mad as Navia. Can you tell me more? Is it the same voice? What kinds of thing does it say? Fascinating. Perhaps she is a benevolent spirit. Or perhaps... Perhaps you're hearing the voice of Proserpina herself. If she has indeed been abducted, it would make sense for her to speak in cryptic whispers, to avoid detection. Tell me, has she told you anything that might lead you to the way out? Oh, I see. Well, let me know if you hear anything that might be a thread through this labyrinth. All right. I would suggest not discussing this with anyone. The best we can do for them is to let them remain oblivious for as long as
また言って誰ですか？
As for Livia, it seems she's been shouldering the weight of this terrible secret all this time. Perhaps it would comfort her to know she's not alone.
まずとりあえずリビアと話す。
Time is of the essence, so you'd best begin. May Fortuna guide you. Although you may not need her with Proserpina on your side.
なるほどね。こっから落ちてきたんだもんな、俺。こっから落ちてきたんだよな。ここのよじ登るのは不可能。流れに逆らって歩いて。なんかまたこれ落とせば入るんだよな。リビア。どこにいんだあいつ。あ、いた。
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come. Say it. Speak its name. Then it is true. I was right. I thought I saw it, but when the rest of them could not, I kept thinking I must have gone insane. I had to tell myself it was true over and over again, until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seem cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it? I will do my best to remember the relevant verse. There is a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend, entombed with full rites, and the ghosts of those, at last, given proper burial. The wide, thorny waste is cold and pallid, and the newly arrived shades are ignorant of the road that leads to the Stygian city, where Black Dis has his cruel palace. As the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, and is never too small for any populace, nor notices the crowds that come. There the bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives. And still others incur punishment. I hope I have done it justice, and now we share a secret. It's as if you've lifted a great burden from my shoulders. Thank you, friend. I think I should rest.
There.
Wow. Isn't that a big long bow? Oh, you're here. And there's some... How dare you?
一発ダメか。責任は変えてがおう。じゃあ、あと話してねえのは。
You stay away from my money.
お金。チェストの関係なんだこれ。 鍵を取るとリセットっていうかタイムループ始まっちゃうから。
Handsome. Unless you want me to slip some hemlock into your next drink. Get out.
ダイスタワー。高田ある。この上なんだ。こっちもなんだ。誰の部屋だこれ。闘技場の模型。なんか開いた。金か。はしご人形。ただの人形だな、銅人形だな。セオフィラスって誰だっけ？これか、またダイスタワーか。ドミティウス、金か。ここがドミティウスの家なのか。なんかねえかな。ここなんだ、ここは。ここに出るだけか。さてどうするか。いろいろ出てきたけど。とりあえずこれやるか。ホラティウスがドミティウス。ドミティウスってどこにいるんだ？これやってみるか。
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
こいつもなんか関係してんのかな。
Listen, I don't abduct women. They come to. You don't know. Listen.
こいつダメか。ホラティウスにもう一回話しかけて。
On your best behavior, I trust. I have nothing to say.
ダメか。一回リセットしないとダメか。出口ってどこだっけ？とりあえずタイムループを起こす前にもうちょっと調べるか。ホラティウスがなんか知ってるんだよな、多分。あの大神殿ってこれのことか？
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
あ、ここあれか。あいつの家か。大神殿ってどこのことだ？誰の家だっけ、ここ。
citizen。
ルフィウスか。もうでも大体話したよな、この町の人間とは。
Salve again, friend. How is it?
Ah. Good one.
But see. That's a shame. Hey, all right.
いや、嘘ついたのに黄金率は破られないな、やっぱ。 なんだろうな、黄金律。何かを、ルールが違うっていうか、俺が気づいてるルールとはまたなんか違うんだな。
Friend.
で、こいつ誰だ？アウレリアか。
Oh, do us all a favor and drink.
こいつはもう怒らせちゃったからダメか。今何人見つけた？センティウス、ガレディウス、デギウス、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。9人までしかこれ出てこねえからな。23人いるんだっけ、この町。全員のあれを出さなきゃいけねえんだよな。まだ話しかけてない人物がいるってことなのかな。とりあえず適当にうろつくしかねえな。降りられるな、ここ。この高さは無理か、さすがに。こっちから降りられるか。あ、やべ。ダメージ食らった。なんかあるな。なんだこれ。ガチョウの卵。なんか意味あんのか、ガチョウの卵って。ガチョウの卵手に入れたけど、なんか意味あんのこれ。アイテム。これなんだこれ。特になんもねえよな。なんだろうこれ。水の中入ることできるのか。なんかあるな。これは取ってもいいのか。だから取ってもいい金を探して2000デュナリをなんとか集めろってことか。そうしないとウルピルスは助けられないってことか。どうかなんかあるな。ここ登れんのここ。あ、これか。なるほどね。これで500なんとか500じゃない2000か。2000ディナリを貯めようってことか。あと543か。でこれ手に入れない限りウルピルスは説得できねえんだ。で盗むのはいけないから盗まずになんとか手に入れる方法を探さないといけねえんだな。なんだここ。あ、やべ。あ、死んじゃった。どっから？ からになるのか
Friend, you have
で、金はいくつある？ 827ってこと？あれ取ってねえのか。どこだっけかな、金。取ってもいい金っていうか、確かここだっけ？ガチョウの卵があったよな、この辺。金になるのかな。で、この箱から金取って。ワインのボトル。なんか意味あんのこれ。一回これセーブするか。セーブって誰だっけ？これか。で、これであと、543デナリ。543デナリウス。あれ？ごめんなさい、遠藤さん。全然話見てなかった。コメントしてくれてたんですね。すいません。ちょっとゲームに集中して、失礼。ちょっとゲームに集中してました。すいません。で、あと543デナリウースっていう、なんかお金を集めなきゃいけないんだよな。どこにあるのかな。盗んじゃってもいいんだろうけど。でも盗んだ場合ってどうなるんだろうな。小銭入れ。これで1524。こんな感じで金集めていかなきゃなんねえのか。金がどこにあるかわかんねえな。これネタバレサイト見てもいいかもしんねえな。とりあえずウルピルスを助けるためには2000デナリ必要なんだけど、2000デナリウス必要なんだけど、金を探さなきゃなんねえんだよな。小銭入れでもなんでもいいんだけど。ここか、大神殿って。ここに入るために、これか？名盤、これをはめなきゃいけねえんだ。その前に金落ちてねえかな、どっかに。金。そうですね。まあ実際盗んじゃっても、盗んでも話が進むならそれはそれでいいんですけど、これいけるか、これいけねえか、進めねえか、こっちは。意外と自由度高いな、これ。あ、落ちちゃった。ダメか、これ以上登れねえか。この上になんかありそうなんだけどな。あ、落ちちゃった。意外と自由度が高いんだよな。こっち行けねえのか。 金ねえかな、どっかに。盗むか。こっち先来たら。金か。なんだこれ。苗木屋の、あれか。これは金か。金ねえかな。小銭に願った。で、今金が、1583。小銭入れ街中にいるパンあんのかなこれ。全部探すの。死亡。ああ、トイレットペーパー代わりに使うものね。トイレか。便所。昔のトイレってこんな感じだったのか。
Salve.
バジル？ああ、こいつ鍛冶屋か。
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil. I hear you to thank for saving Julia's life. I'm glad you arrived when you did. Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people, that kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means Romans have been arriving here for at least that long. But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. It's Greek. I'm not sure. It could mean that the Romans who first started building here were just copying Greek architecture, which they do all the time. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far older than any of us imagine? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell. Oh, I'm glad you asked, but... Or it could mean who really, if... Gladly. Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake and allows us to fish and farm. Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it.
脱出方法がいくつもあるな。
You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. Given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's unknown. There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course. You wouldn't believe how often the new ones ask that question. But I'd tell you the same thing I tell everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the Golden Rule, but once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway. Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Noviomagus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans. Some people say it's divine, the work of a god, but I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. Like it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called god doesn't seem to care, which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown god doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you? Fair enough. Well, I'm an architect, help up, but... You wouldn't say but what? Some people, I mean, which and I... Good. Then I hope you'll agree. The first is to leave. The second is to remove the ruler. I'm glad. It's best if I say no more, but... Some people, I mean, which and I... Good. Good question. It's best if I say no more, but... Some people, I mean, which and I'm... Good. Perhaps not. But it's best if I say no more, but... Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my... Hey, nothing gets by you, huh? Sorry, that was mean. Yes, I like men. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagus, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground,
偽名
halfway across the known world with an assumed name. My openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong. It's not just graffiti. I have quite a collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists. Strange bunch.
どういうことですか
They insist there's only one God, and that he considers my nature as sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule. What? Really? I didn't expect that. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to meet someone so selfless. I'm glad you arrived when you did. I'd start by figuring out who the cultists are. Or maybe ask around
とりあえ
among
ずこの
the
野
merchants
獣
here
先
if
輩
someone who lives or works in
から
the
もうちょっと
farm
情報聞き出したい
must
な
have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused. Come back and let me know what you...
ちょっと待って、まだ話足りないんだけ
Any
ど
news about my... Oh, that's all right. Some people, I mean, which and... Good, Perhaps it's... Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in the... My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. Nice to talk to you.
とりあえずこの野獣先輩のこの野獣先輩の恋愛を成功させればいいってことなのか。野獣先輩も大変だな。金だもんな。盗めねえもんな。
Salve.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings. I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. My friend, your words intrigue me more and more. But yes, my stop. You mean... I'll tell you. It is... I say... You mean... Well, if we... You mean... I say... Oh, if... Anything... Ah, yes. Have you not heard the tale of the god
そうですね、頭にきてます
He
ね
was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld.
いや、急に元気になりましたね、遠藤さん。なんか野獣先輩出てきてから急に元気になりましたね。
Instead, she changed the climate of Earth so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands until at last the other gods were forced to act lest they have no worshippers left. So yes, we know this rule. This has always been the case. The golden rule has merely brought
い
it
や、
into focus.
いかないですね、すいません。
If we are to survive, I say we must each heed the simple wisdom of Thales of Miletus, first of the 7 sages of Greece, who said, "Avoid doing what you would blame others for doing." Regrettably, I think you are correct, my friend. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a
やべ
single
え、遠藤さんのせいで話が入ってこない。
Ah, the voice of experience. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the Golden Rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do make magnificent models for my clothing. Do they not?
これ全部話聞かないとな。
Have you not when it so if we have it does for if sadly it is not all but on for all and in a city full of Romans you are asking me because I am Greek.
いや、また長い話か。
Something about Greeks and Romans.
絶対嘘ですよね。絶対嘘ですよね。
But the Romans, they do not care. They hear me say Georgios and they think, ah, he must mean Georgius. Good Roman name. They do this all the time. They see us worshipping Zeus, they copy us but call him Jupiter. They take Hades and call him Pluto, Persephone, Proserpina. I am flattered that they copy our ideas, but why must they change the names? Do they want credit for making it all up? Do they want to forget where it came from? At first, I pull my hair out. After a while, I give up.
いや、やりません。すみません、エンドさんのせいでちょっとゲームが頭に入ってこないんですけど、すみません。
But my point is this. If you want to know who stole an old Greek name, look no further than the sticky-fingered Romans.
なんか目が泳いでんだけど、こいつ。
Was pilfered from a collection of old Greek relics by none other than Dooley. He cannot help it.
Dooleyってやついたっけ?
Like a typical Roman, he likes shiny things, especially those that once belonged to my people. And besides, it makes him happy. So I say, let him keep it. I believe he still has it with him in his cell, just opposite the Temple of Demeter. That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some reflection, I'm leaning toward voting for Malleolus. I do not enjoy the thought of another visit from Domitius if I voted the wrong way. Nothing comes to my mind, my friend. This is troubling, is it not? I'm afraid I have no idea. It is ridiculous, though. Virgil is a fine man. But my young friend Fabia confided in me that she saw someone leaving graffiti on his shop front last night. Perhaps you should ask her about it. I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend.
まあそれはいいとしてお金ないかな。お金はないですか。彼盗むになっちゃうのか。最終的に盗まなきゃいけねえのかな、これ。盗まずに2000貯める方法ってあんのかな。あれ、いけねえ。あ、これあれか、試着室か。
You look well, my sartorial friend.
なんかいっぱいになってきちゃったな、ミッションが。罪人。こっちか。何やってんだこいつ。
Salve and welcome. Need
あ、
something?
ファビアってこいつか。
Oh, there's not much to tell. I mostly just bake bread and try to help out where I can. I suppose it all started about 8 months ago. I was living in Rome with my family when I got sick. Terrible timing. My pa had just arranged a husband for me, a fisherman's son. I was about to meet him for the first time when I came down with an awful fever. I spent the next week in bed. Pa paid priests to make offerings to Asclepius, a white rooster, then a goat. But nothing worked. In the end, they decided I'd do better outside the city. Clean air in the countryside would do me good, they said. But after about a day in a carriage on the Appian Way, I was getting worse, not better. I remember closing my eyes for a bit, and I guess I must have fell asleep, because when I opened them again, I was in a forest by a river. I suppose the driver took off with his fee and left me for dead. Can't say I blame him. I wouldn't have wanted to catch what I had either. Anyway, I went searching for help, stumbled across the trapdoor temple, and here I am. It's nice of you to say, but you should save your sympathy. Lots of people here need it more than I do.
What?
You've been here a few moments and you're desperate to get out already? Why not give the place a chance before you try to leave? Good people here. Galerius works hard on the farm so I can put food on our tables, and Lucretia tries to keep us healthy. My friend Georgius is always mending our clothes, and Virgil makes sure these old walls don't fall down around us. Well, he does his best. I'm just saying, there are worse places you could live out your days. Well, I can tell from your funny accent you're not from around here, but that doesn't mean you don't belong, does it? Oh, I try not to worry about it. I mean, if people are nice to each other, we won't have anything to worry about, will we? Thanks. And I like your teeth. They're so white. And your clothes. Oh, I bet my friend Georgius would like to get a look at you. And I'm sure he'd love to chatter about the Golden Rule with you too. He'll be just across the forum in his shop. Oh, You're funny. I bet. And I'm sure he'd love to. He'll be just a. Terrible shame, that is. Maybe this'll. The forum's usually dead quiet at that hour, so I came. To be honest, I thought maybe poor old Dooley had got out of his cell and was snooping around again. So I put my head out and saw someone in front of Virgil's shop. I couldn't tell who. It was too dark. I called out to them, but they just turned and ran off without a word. All I remember is they ran past a lit torch, and the light glinted off something metallic. Armour, I think. So I suppose it could only be one of three people. Horatius, Domitius, or Rufius. I hope that helps. All right. Thanks again for taking care of our problem. I won't forget it.
謎解きっていう感じのゲームじゃねえな、これ。謎解きゲーム、ミステリーゲームだと思ってやったんだけど、そういうわけでもねえのか。まあでも面白いからいいんだけどね。
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not? What now? Do I seem like anonymous threats are my style?
いや
Do I seem like anonymous
怒ら
threats
せ
are
る
my
かこいつ。
style? You don't know Sturkus. Listen, I don't. Whatever.
こいつ何も言ってくんねえんだな。
Citizen?
ウホじゃないっす。ホラティウス。
I have nothing to say to you.
あ、それホラティウス怒らせたもんだったな。ってことは一回タイムトラベルを起こさないといけないのか。タイムトラベルを起こす前にな、選挙の話をちょっと聞きたいっていうか、現場を見たいんだよな。実際何が起こったか見てねえし、俺。
Citizen. Name's Rufius. No idea what. That was Galerius, not you. Oh. He got that from you? I guess you did help me then. Huh. I think I have seen that plaque. Sorry I lied. Can't be too careful these days. Head into the caves behind the theater. Turn right, then right again. Oh, and here. You'll need this key.
鍵くれんのか。サンキュー。秘密の他の鍵。いや。
You didn't get that from me.
はい。
No idea what you're talking about. Yeah?
いや、ダメか。証拠をしよう。そうですね。まあ、すごく大きいと思います。ちょっと待って。何さいんね、今。貧民街。ホラティウスは怒らせちゃってるから話せねえんだよな。とりあえずローマの名盤とか、ああいうの探してみる。
Fortune smile on you, brother.
貧民街。ここになんかあんのか？ドミティウス。 こでなんか調べるっていうか、これか。ここになんかあんの？何もないけど。金盗めってことなのかな？どこだ？ここじゃないな。どうやって入んだここ？上か2階か。誰の部屋だここ？書きかけの手記。罪人を、これは最後の警告である。ルフィウスか、脅してんのって。これ金か。いや、ケツは盗んでまずいですね。他に何もない？死ぬ彫刻。弾痕かなんと。弾痕っていうのはやめてもらえます？いや、まあ別に歴史的に見て新鮮なものであることはわかるんだけど。弾痕って言っちゃうとね、なんかちょっと変な想像する人がいるんで。てかもう、想像も何もそのままか。そのまま言っちゃってるもんな。まあでも、北条の神とか、そういう、あれここじゃねえ、道わかんなかった。あれ、俺どっから来たんだっけ？ウルピウス。なんかあるここ。何かあんのか。そうですね。やっちゃってますね。上になんかあんの？あ、金だ。おお、金。これで貯まったの2000。よし、これでウルピルス助けられる。
Salve again, friend. How is it? Hey, all right.
で、次どこ向かえばいいんだ？ルフィウスのとこに行けばいいんだけど、あいつどこにいるんだ？こっちじゃねえな。こいつか。
Citizen? Ah, you again. No idea what you're... Look, I haven't been at my best lately. I know that. It's the rheumatism. It starts with constant pain in all your joints. Then the pain starts to mess with your head. Makes you angry, mean. I know that's not an excuse for how I acted.
そうですね。
It's the truth. But with the willow bark, I'm already starting to feel like myself again. I'll leave him alone from now on.
ああ、これで
It's not as if I
大丈
was
夫だったの
ever
か。
going to hurt him anyway. I was just lashing out. I'm going to go and clean up the graffiti. Just forget this ever happened. Will you?
で、次は、バージルか。まあ、野獣先輩の問題もな、解決しないといけないからな。
You look well, my Sartorial friend.
Salve. Any news about my secret admirer? You went snooping in his place? That was risky. We're lucky you didn't cross any lines. Have you spoken to him about it? Really? How did you manage that? Ah, poor fellow. I've heard that can really mess with a person's head. Well done for figuring that out. Really? That's promising. I'll keep an eye out for him. Nice to talk to you.
で、これが分かったからなんだっていう。とりあえずな、選挙起こってくんねえかな。とりあえずまあもう一個。確かなんだっけ。これはまあ、いいとして。ドゥリーだな。ドゥリーのとこに行くか。なんか牢獄に捕らえられてるって言ってたけど、どっから行くの？こっちか。あ、これか、ドゥリー。エクイティア。
Isn't the great temple majestic?
鍵開けないと入れないのか。あ、話せた。
Hello? Do you like it? It's shiny, innit? It makes me happy just looking at it. But if I gave it to you, then I wouldn't have it anymore, and I'd be sad. Well, if you get me out of here, then I wouldn't need it anymore because I'd already be happy. Then you could have it, and you'd be happy too. Galerius already tried that.
Don't you just love
He
springtime?
said the magistrate wouldn't listen, no matter what. Like, Galerius? He's nice. I like Galerius. He made me a doll and everything.
ちょっと失礼。ちょっと待って、みんないろいろやってんな。RE4、バイオハザード。
Yeah, Galerius will let me out. Then you can have my plaque, and everyone will be happy. My name's Dooley. I live here now because I got in trouble and they said they had to lock me up.
っていうかもう9時か。そろそろ終わるか。
I don't remember things so good. I think it's just because I was looking for treasure. Yes, but I wasn't. I was just looking. They said I did it more than once, but I can't remember things so good. Then they called me mean names. They called me a liar, Billy. Yes. They said I have to live here now, and gave me this letter. But I'm not good with words. Do you think you could read it for me?
センティウスからドゥリへの手紙。政務官センティウスによると、ドゥリの不法侵入を防ぐ目的で彼を含み失われた財を本への執着からスプーンの守護者ハニバルの死ぬシスターンは禁じられてるってことか。だからシスターンに行こうとしたら逆にセンティウスに逆らうことになるのか。
What does it say? My treasure. My friend Hannibal used to look after me. He said he always would. But then, he died. It was very sad. He said if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious hidden away. He gave me this key and made me promise to keep it safe until I found the treasure. But I couldn't find it. All I remember is he said something about the cisterns. But when I went up to the high one,
高いところね。
now nobody looks after me. Except my friend Galerius. And Ek, the priestess lady. She's a nice lady. Hannibal said I shouldn't give it to anyone I didn't trust. But maybe you could help me get out of here. Then I would trust you a lot. You're mean.
あ、怒らしちゃっ
I
た。
don't like you.
怒らしちゃった。で、そろそろ選挙始まってくんねえかな。こいつはルクレティアか。ここはもうしょうがない。怒らせちゃったから。これ以上話進めらんねえけど。早く始まってくんねえかな。選挙。ここで何が起こったのかを見てみたいだけなんだけど。これ見たら今日終わりにしようかなと思ってたけど。なんかあるな、そこ。繋がってるだけか。こっちにも道があるな。これなんか見た気がするな。暗いな。来たな。あれ、開いてるぞ。この黄金の像が邪魔で動かせない。開かない、入れない。この黄金の像が邪魔で入れねえな。どうすりゃいいんだ、これ。黄金律が破られたタイミングで、ここ入ればいいってことか。まあでもその前にやんなきゃいけないこといっぱいあるからな。そろそろ終わろうと思うんだけど、どうしようかな。あれ、時間が経てば勝手に選挙って始めるわけじゃねえのかな。なんか、裁判じゃなくて、あれが始まる条件があるのかな。なんだ。お金いっぱい。なんか実績が解除されたけど、どこだここ。こんなとこあったのか。てか暗くてわからん。どこだここ。なんかあるな。リビア。特に調べられるもんはねえな。 暗くてわかんねえや。見えねえ見えねえ。まだ奥がついてるな。真っ暗で見えねえんだけど。なんだここ、どこだ。変なとこに出たぞ。あそこか。起きたとこか。ここも見たな。
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
Did you just leap in that? Well, of course not. But as I always say, look, if you're trying to find her, you may wish to check the cisterns beneath this villa. Domitius says he saw a body there some weeks back. Of course, just to be clear, I take no responsibility for what
ああ、
happens
な
to
るほ
you
どね。
down there.
怖いからセーブしていけ。怖いからセーブしてから行けってことか。
I trust you can see yourself out through.
とりあえずセーブするか、一回。地下？地下ってどこよ？どこだ、地下って。どっかに地下に降りる階段があるのか。
What now? Listen, I don't know. Whatever.
どこだ？ここ誰の家だこれ。ここじゃないな。ここか。
Hey, you're not thinking about going into the
ここがシ
cistern,
スター
are
ン
you?
っていうやつは。
Nobody's told you about Hannibal? Ugh, why do I have to do everything round here? So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right? Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground, and hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man
化け
who'd
物
been
がいる。
flayed,
戦闘があんのか。
and it was eating Hannibal. What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put a sign at the door to warn the others. Good idea.
もうちょっともう一回話せないかな。ロードセーブ入ったのか。セーブ中。武器持ってた方がいいかな。いるな。こいつか化け物って。ここがシスターンっていうところなのか。なんかあるな。小銭入れやりつつ。邪魔。ちょっと離れろ。出れねえ。出れた。やつ。他に調べるもんねえのか。なんかあるの？これか。 いやこれなんかゴールしちゃいそう、ゴールっていうか一つのエンディング見ちゃいそうなんで、痛い痛い痛い。このペンダント。今何取った俺。月のペンダントって何？これなんだ？センディアテフ。センディアテフ。よくわからん。こっちにはなんかあんのか。登るだけか。他に漁るもんはねえのかな。ちょっと待ってろじゃあ。これ降りねえのか。なんかあんのこっち。ここしかねえのか。金か。あとじゃあ行ってみるか。ちょっと一回セーブするか。セーブしてここ行ってみるか。なんかここでゴールしちゃそうな気するけど。一回セーブ。登ってみるか。いやこれいけるかこれ。ここか次。なんか変なとこ出たな。なんだこれ。誰こいつ。誰。
You? Who are you? Did he send you? And you know you're here. You have to help me escape before that monster comes back. I'm Centilla. I found a way out through the gate of Horn, but it's locked. So I told him about it, and instead of helping me escape, he locked me up. He wants to keep us all here forever, or until we're turned to gold. He's a monster. You have to let me go so we can kill him and take his key. Sentius, my adoptive father. Furies help me. I'll castrate and crucify him. I don't know. He said the gods are on his side because they don't want us to escape either. Behind me, there's an aqueduct tunnel bringing water from outside the city, so it should lead us outside. The only problem is it's barred by a heavy locked gate, and he has the only key. I'm going to take that key from around his neck, even if it means cutting his throat to get it. I'm done caring about the golden rule. I just want out. Help me, and we can escape together. There won't be enough time. Just you and me. What do you say?
どれだ? これか?
There's no time. Wait, did you hear that? He's here. Quick, you have to let me go. It's now or never. Oh, thank you. Now follow. Wait, did you hear that? He's here. He must be coming in through the door behind me. You distract him. stay right here and keep him talking while I look for something I can use.
どうすりゃいいの？誰か来た。
What did you do
センティウス
with
か。
Scintilla? Where is she?
いや、こいつ悪い人だったのか？
So that is how it's going to be. Oh well, this doesn't change anything for me. It's a shame, really. If you'd just done what you were supposed to, you'd have been looping through time forever until you gave up and killed yourself. Just like
ああ、
that
こいつは悪人だったのか。
Come now. Surely you didn't think you were the only one here who remembered everything. You see, my connection to the portal somehow preserves my memories from one loop to the next. Whether that was Proserpina's intention or a happy accident, I'll never know. But I'm surprised you hadn't noticed. Here I was thinking you were a little bit sharper than Al was. Or perhaps you're just more willing to break the rules. He was a moralistic fellow, never once compromised on his principles. And because of that fatal flaw, he relived this day many thousands of times before we finally had this conversation. I watched him come through the portal each time, always a little older, a little more disheveled, a little more haunted. And when he finally saw the futility of it all, as you're about to, it broke him. He drank a jug of wine, tied a noose around his neck, and took his own life, just before he was shot with a golden arrow. The next time I awoke, you showed up, but you've caught up to where he was so quickly. I'd have preferred if you'd given me more time to enjoy the trappings of my success. How many extra days did you give me? Just the 5? Not a lot compared with Al, but I've seized every day, nonetheless. In any case, there's no escape for you except the path that Al took, the path he wrote about on his tablet. What was it? Ah, yes. Better to end it all now than find out what awaits you beyond that portal. So, you discovered my secret. So what? What are you going to do about it? Of course. There's no way you could have succeeded. Every soul who has ever found themselves here has broken the golden rule eventually. It is inevitable. Man will always sin sooner or later. Any idiot could tell you this. But where others might see tragedy, I saw opportunity. As I told you the first time we met, I found a way to cheat death. By reliving the same day over and over again forever. And I will continue living long after your dust.
そういう話ね。
Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I have grown attached to all this. My title, my beautiful villa, the sun on my face, the music of birds chirping. And as long as this day keeps repeating itself, I get to enjoy it all, over and over again, for eternity. Don't you see? I have found a way to prolong my life indefinitely, to cheat death. I have become, in effect, as immortal as the gods. Can you honestly say you would not wish the same for yourself? Do you really think you could take on a Decurion with that flimsy little bird? Who? Scintilla? Where is she?
I'm right here, Father.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Come on, we have to go. Hey, what's happening to you? That light, it's so bright.
どうなった？どうなった？なんだこれ？ あ、誰か来た。
Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in your
若い
lawn.
な。
I'm Al. Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Funny you should ask. I was just reading an old tablet I found here. Well, trying. My Latin is kinda rusty, but the last entry mentioned someone with the same name. It described an event about 2,000 years ago. Someone with your name appeared in the city out of the shrine of Proserpina. Freed an imprisoned woman named Centilla, who then murdered her captor, breaking some kind of ancient law. It said the attack caused golden statues to come alive, hunting down everyone in the city and turning them into gold. Apparently, the only person to survive was Centilla, while the stranger disappeared in a flash of light. What? You're saying you were here 2,000 years ago? I'm not sure I understand. I'm sorry, come again? Let me see that. God, why does this writing look so familiar? I've spent a lifetime in this place going around and around in circles. This is disturbing, but I don't understand how I could have written it. I'm not following. So you're saying, because a man from 2,000 years ago is dead, he never created a time portal, so I never went through it, and that's why I don't remember any of this. I guess you saved my life then, as well as helping that poor woman to escape. That's a lot to take in. Maybe we can escape through the same aqueduct Centilla used, if we can find it.
話せない。どっち？こっちか、水道橋って。あ、出口？川へと戻る。ああ、こう最初の子は夕方になってるな、いつの間にか。
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple. You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
これグッドエンディングになるのかな。まだ全然やってないこととかいっぱいあるんだけど。
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find out? Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait? Ah, I see. I thought you...
もうなんか目がやばいことになってるぞ。
Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions. You can just call me Carolyn, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time. That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead. Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know? As you wish. You were murdered. You were falsely accused of a terrible crime, and fled into the wild to evade your accusers. On your final night, You were offered sanctuary in the cottage of a stranger who gave you food and money, including, by accident, a coin of ancient origin. Unfortunately, you were apprehended and attacked by authorities. Your host leapt to your aid. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not. There was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and you followed a few hours later. That man's name was
はあ、
Al.
そういうストーリーなのか。
You were each in possession of a sacred coin, called Karen's opal by some. And so it was my duty to bring you here. Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans bearing their dead with a coin in their mouths to pay the ferrymen for passage across the river. Well, those stories contained a seed of truth, but not any coin would do. A long time ago, my master created 1,000 silver coins and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin, I was to locate them and ferry them here. That is a question you would have to ask him, if that were still possible, in light of the path you have chosen. I am just his servant, doing his bidding. Only now, I find myself bereft of purpose. You see, the coins on you and Al were the last of the 1,000 in existence. There is nobody else to ferry here, nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course. I see no point in keeping you here, but I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now.
おっと。
Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an event 2,000 years ago. Supposedly, the city was destroyed when a woman murdered a tyrant with the help of... well, my new friend here. I know how crazy that sounds.
Maybe not that crazy. That woman. I don't suppose her name was... Scintilla?
How could you... what?
She left a tablet of her own. I stumbled across it while I was waiting here. I think she meant for you to read it. Here, take a look.
I don't know what became of you, or if you'll ever read this, but I want you to know that I will never forget you, or what you did for me. It pains me that so many dear friends were not so fortunate. Ulpius, Cynthia, Lucretia, Horatius, Galerius, poor Dooley, and the others. But please understand.
Sounds like you meant a lot to her. I'd love to hear your story, but first, you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
エンディングに冥界の神に立ち込む。ああ、そうか、結局俺助けられたのセンティラだけだったんだよな。すべての人物を助けられたら、真のトゥルーエンディングに行けるのか。エンディングに。エンディング 4種類か。とりあえず一応このゲーム、theforgottencityクリアしたみたいです。エンディングの一つ見ました。ただ、エンディング全部で4つあるみたいなんで、ちょっと土日かけてちょっとこれクリアしてみようかな。全部エンディング見てみようかと思います。いや、意外と面白かったけど、まだまだなんか謎っていうか、いろいろあるな、このゲーム。とりあえずまあ、バッドエンドじゃなかったっていうことなのかな。とりあえず生き返ったってことだから。 どこだろうな。でもこれ見る人いんのかな。俺一人で裏でやって、全部のエンディング見て、それで終わりにしちゃってもいいんだけどな。やった方がいいのかな。まあでも街の人すべてを助けたエンディングも見てみたいよな。それが本当のトゥルーエンドなんだろうけど。あ、これ声優か。まさかな、センティウスがあいつが悪者だったとは思わなかったな。というわけで、エンディングは一つは見たんですけど、まだ他にもエンディングがあるみたいなんで、それも見てみようかなとは思ってます。で、多分、1個目のエンド、1、2、3、4だったけど、俺が見たのが 2つ目で、1つ目のエンディングが多分、あれが多分バッドエンドなんじゃねえかな。それも見てみたいとは言えば見てみたいけど。で、もうすぐ10時になっちゃうんで、この後は別の配信を俺は見に行くと思います。というわけで、本日は多分ここで終わりだと思います。てか、長いな、これ。これどっから始められるんだろうな。結局ウルピルスも助けてねえし、本当にセンティラだけしか作ってねえんだよな。全員を助けるか。いやー、でも面白いゲームだったと思います。まあ面白いゲームだったと思いますっていうか、まだこれからももうちょい続けるんだけどな。こんなに早く終わっちゃうと思わなかったな。いつか5回って言ってたよな、あいつセンティウスを。だから俺5回のループでクリアしたから、このエンディングになったのかな。もっと長いループ重ねてたら、もっとまた別のエンディングになってたのかな。ちょっとこれもうちょっとやり込んでみないとわかんねえな。全部のエンディングは見てみたいけど。でももう次のゲームも買っちゃってるし、サンズ・オブ・ザ・フォレストももう一回やってみたいんだよな。というわけで明日土曜日と日曜日かけてちょっと全エンディング回収したいと思います。もしかしたらもうあれもうネタバレ見ちゃうかもしれないですけど、できるだけ頑張って土日一人で何とかしようかなと思ってます。はい、というわけで忘れられた都市、ザ・フォーゴットンシティ、無事エンディングに を見ることができました。で、明日、明後日、土日で、今日他のエンディングも回収しようかと、回収っていうか、他のエンディングも見てみようかと思います。というわけで、本日はご視聴ありがとうございました。それではまた明日、失礼します。